What if I told you a simple sandwich once stood for a whole time period? From fried Spam in wartime homes to peanut butter with mayo on white bread, these tastes share forgotten pieces of American history. Today, we're looking at 25 sandwiches that time and most restaurants have forgotten. Some will make you hungry, others might make you say, yuck. Let's get started. 1. Fried Spam sandwich. Hormel created Spam in 1937, and it became a wartime must-have because it lasted long and didn't cost much. Soldiers ate so much of it that when they came home, they kept eating it in their everyday meals. The fried Spam sandwich, made with mustard or mayo between toasted bread, showed how people got through hard times. Spam became super popular in Hawaii, where it became part of local cooking and led to foods like Spam musubi. Today, some people see it as old-fashioned, while others remember it fondly from family breakfasts and war stories. Spam was called the meat that won the war because it fed so many Allied soldiers. In America, after the war, women's magazines and church cookbooks showed creative ways to use Spam. Many soldiers kept eating it simply because it reminded them of surviving tough times and friendship with other soldiers. 2. Mock chicken sandwich. During the Great Depression, real meat was something most people could only dream about. Smart cooks mixed ingredients like chopped tomatoes, eggs, shredded cheese, onions, and herbs to make something that looked and tasted like chicken. This creative meal filled bellies and showed how people got clever when times were tough. Families would eat this simple sandwich together and share stories of hard times that later became happy memories. Today, it reminds us how creative people were back then. Kids often thought it really was chicken and didn't find out the truth until they were older, proof that the trick worked well. Recipes for fake chicken spread were written on cards by hand and became something frugal cooks were proud of. It was also served at church dinners and school events where taste mattered more than what was actually in it. 3. Sloppy Joe. Nobody agrees on where the Sloppy Joe came from. Some say a bar in Havana, others say a cook named Joe from Sioux City, Iowa in the 1930s. Wherever it started, this messy mix of ground beef, onions, tomato sauce, and spices quickly became a family favorite. It was cheap and easy to make, which helped during hard economic times. Kids especially loved its tangy flavor and asked for it in their school lunches. Soon, different versions appeared, including ones without meat and ones with different meats, showing how flexible and popular it was. By the 1950s, canned Sloppy Joe mixes like Manwich brought it into regular American homes. In many families, Tuesday nights became Sloppy Joe night, a tradition that went on for years. The sandwich became famous in TV shows and school cafeteria menus. 4. Peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich. Strange to most people today, this sandwich became popular in the southern United States in the early 1930s. The sweet, nutty peanut butter mixed with creamy, tangy mayonnaise created an unusual flavor. This sandwich became a symbol of being thrifty and creative during tough times. Families would add lettuce or bananas to make it taste better and more nutritious. Though it might make people raise their eyebrows today, for many, it brings back nice memories of simpler times and childhood lunches. During the Great Depression, this sandwich gave kids important calories for school. Its ingredients lasted a long time on the shelf and didn't cost much, making it perfect for both country and city families. Many adults today remember it as the sandwich you didn't want to trade at lunch, but secretly enjoyed. 5. Marmite and cheese sandwich. Starting in the UK, the Marmite and cheese sandwich combines the smooth texture of cheese with Marmite's salty, rich flavor. Served on whole wheat bread, it's a classic favorite in British homes. Marmite is a yeast spread with such a strong taste that people either love it or hate it. This sandwich was common in school lunchboxes and a popular snack with tea for many British people. It reminds them of family get-togethers and childhood. Marmite had lots of B vitamins, making it extra valuable during wartime when food was limited. Soldiers carried small jars of it, often eating it with crackers or bread. The cheese and Marmite combo became comfort food for people raised after the war when times were still tough. 6. Chicken liver sandwich. This sandwich was popular in the 1950s and was a treat in many homes. Chicken livers were soaked in a mix of garlic, salt, and lemon juice, then cooked until tender. They were sliced and put on toasted whole wheat bread with mayo, lettuce, and tomato. This filling, flavorful sandwich was usually served on special days or Sunday dinners. Though it's not popular anymore, people who grew up eating it remember it fondly. During the boom after the war, organ meats like liver were widely used because they were affordable and packed with nutrients, especially iron and vitamins. Mothers often made liver sandwiches for kids to build blood, a term that showed how people focused on strength and energy back then. In immigrant families, liver dishes connected them to their old country cooking, mixing heritage with American practicality. 7. Monte Cristo sandwich. The Monte Cristo sandwich is based on the French croque monsieur. Ham and cheese go between bread slices, then it's dipped in egg batter and fried until golden. Sprinkled with powdered sugar and sometimes served with jam, it balances sweet and savory flavors perfectly. The sandwich became famous in America in the mid-1900s, partly because it was served at Disneyland's Blue Bayou restaurant. Its unique taste and look attracted people wanting something different. It became a special treat in the 1960s when American diners and theme parks started making food more dramatic and fun. The Monte Cristo showed America's growing interest in food from other countries, though with an American twist. It also fit the time's love for convenient cooking. It was rich, impressive, and fairly easy to make at home. 8. Sardine and egg sandwich. This sandwich was a basic food in the early 1900s, especially when meat was hard to get. Sardines were mixed with mashed hard-boiled eggs and spread on bread slices. It was a great source of protein and easy to prepare. Though it's less popular today, it helped people get nutrition during tough times. For some people, it still brings back memories of family meals and surviving hard periods. This sandwich was especially important during World War I and the Great Depression, when canned fish was one of the cheapest proteins available. Immigrant families, especially from Mediterranean and Eastern European areas, used sardines not just because they were cheap, but because they reminded them of food from home. Adding egg made it taste better to kids and helped make scarce food go further. 9. Deviled ham sandwich. Deviled ham, a spiced ground ham spread, became popular in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The William Underwood Company started making it in 1868, and it quickly became a kitchen staple. Mixed with mayo, mustard, and spices, it was spread on bread for a quick, tasty sandwich. It lasted a long time on the shelf, making it handy when people didn't have refrigerators. The famous devil picture on the can became easy to recognize in American kitchens. It was heavily advertised during the Spanish-American War and again during World War II as part of military food because it didn't spoil. In suburban America after the war, deviled ham became common at picnics and in school lunches, often served with potato chips and milk in thermoses. Its mix of affordability and spice made it a favorite among working-class people in lunch pails across factories and farms. 10. Potted meat sandwich. Before refrigerators, potted meat was a way to keep cooked meat fresh by covering it in fat. This helped meat last for long periods. In sandwiches, potted meat was spread on buttered bread, making a filling and easy meal. It was very popular in the early 1900s when it gave people a good way to preserve meat. Though it's less common today, it shows how earlier generations handled food storage. Potted meat recipes were often handed down in families, especially in country areas where refrigerators weren't common until the 1940s. Making it well was seen as good housekeeping, being able to stretch a roast and waste nothing. Potted meat sandwiches were also common in the lunchboxes of miners, railroad workers, and farmhands, giving them food that wouldn't spoil during long hours of work. 11. Banana and mayonnaise sandwich. A favorite in Southern kitchens in the 1950s and 60s, this sandwich might sound crazy today, but people once loved it. The creamy, tangy mayo mixed surprisingly well with soft, sweet banana slices, especially on fluffy white bread. It was cheap, easy, and strangely satisfying, a favorite for kids and adults during lean times. Many Southerners remember their grandmothers making it for lunch or wrapping it up for picnics. Some even added peanut butter or bacon, predicting the Elvis-style mixes that would become famous later. While most modern taste buds might cringe, those who grew up on it remember it as comfort food with personality. The sandwich showed post-war America's shift toward convenient foods, where canned items and pantry basics became more important than fresh foods. It was especially useful in areas without easy access to grocery stores, where fresh vegetables and meat were rare treats. This simple meal also reflected a nationwide movement of food thriftiness and resourcefulness that defined American homemaking for decades. 12. Creamed corn sandwich. If you opened your lunchbox in the 1940s or 50s and saw creamed corn between bread slices, you were probably either excited or a bit confused. This sandwich came from needing quick vegetarian meals using cheap pantry items. Creamed corn, warmed and mixed with melted cheese or herbs, was spread on buttered bread and often grilled or pressed like a panini. It was an easy way to turn a can of corn into a full meal, especially during post-war food rationing. Parents liked how fast and filling it was. Kids enjoyed the sweetness and gooey texture. Today, it's a forgotten treasure, though you might still find a version in old church cookbooks or grandma's recipe box. It became more popular during the rationing years of World War II, when the U.S. government encouraged meatless meals. Church dinners and community cookbooks often featured it as an example of budget meals that still nourish. It also worked as a soft, easy-to-eat option for young children and older family members, adding to its appeal across generations. 13. Cucumber sandwich. Elegant and simple, the cucumber sandwich is the only item on this list that doesn't rely on strong flavors or nostalgia. It's all about delicate simplicity. Starting in Victorian England as a tea-time classic, it was later adopted in American tea rooms and women's clubs during the early 1900s. Thin, lightly salted cucumber slices were layered between crustless white bread, usually spread with butter or cream cheese. It was especially popular in spring and summer when cucumbers were fresh and plentiful. Served with tea, lemonade, or small desserts, this sandwich represented refinement and good manners. While it might feel out of place in today's fast food world, it remains a nostalgic favorite for those who remember bridal showers, garden parties, or lazy porch days. The cucumber sandwich also appeared in early 1900s American etiquette books as a polite bite, perfect for entertaining women guests without risk of mess. Before refrigeration, its coolness was a luxury during hot months, especially in upper-class Southern homes. It was often served at garden clubs, debutante teas, and suffragette gatherings, a quiet witness to America's changing social roles. 14. Tongue sandwich. It might sound scary today, but in traditional Jewish delis and old-school European homes, beef tongue was a prized piece of meat. It was slow-cooked until melt-in-your-mouth tender, then sliced thin and piled high on rye bread, often with spicy brown mustard and a pickle on the side. In New York, tongue sandwiches were once as common as pastrami or corned beef. Rich in flavor and surprisingly delicate in texture, they were considered both nourishing and special. Grandparents often recalled it being a treat saved for special occasions or Sunday outings. As tastes changed and organ meats became less popular, tongue sandwiches disappeared from most menus, but they remain a delicacy in heritage delis. Tongue was an affordable cut in the 1800s and early 1900s, especially among immigrant communities trying to use every part of the animal. During World War II, tongue became part of food conservation programs and was recommended by USDA pamphlets as a smart meat choice. Jewish delis, especially in cities like New York and Chicago, helped keep the tradition alive well into the 1970s, making it a cultural staple tied to family identity. 15. Cheese Dream Sandwich. This open-faced cousin to grilled cheese first became popular during the Great Depression when fancy ingredients were scarce and every bite needed to count. The cheese dream started as a simple slice of bread topped with American cheese and broiled until bubbly and golden. Sometimes a tomato slice or sprinkle of paprika was added to make it fancier. Kids loved the gooey texture and parents appreciated how simple and cheap it was. It was often served with soup or fruit, sometimes even for breakfast. Over time, the cheese dream changed into creative variations, but its original charm remains: comforting, budget-friendly, and made with love. The sandwich appeared in government pamphlets on nutritious meals for low-income families during the 1930s. Many World War II-era school lunches included a cheese dream with fruit or soup, considered balanced and morale-boosting. It later inspired the modern open-faced melts and toaster oven lunches that appeared in the 1960s, showing its lasting influence on American home cooking. 16. Scrapple Sandwich. Few foods show early American cleverness like scrapple, a dish born from necessity and kept alive by tradition. Coming from Pennsylvania Dutch country, scrapple is a true American original brought by German immigrants who helped shape America's farming. Made from leftover pork scraps and cornmeal, a distinctly American grain, it was formed into a loaf, then sliced and pan-fried until golden and crispy. Served between white or rye bread with mustard or maple syrup, the scrapple sandwich became a breakfast favorite throughout the mid-Atlantic, especially in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. For generations of American families, the smell of scrapple sizzling in a cast-iron skillet was the sound of Saturday mornings. More than just thrifty, it showed a pioneer mindset: waste nothing, flavor everything. Today, scrapple sandwiches still appear at roadside diners and farmers markets, offering a bite of American food history with every crispy, savory mouthful. 17. Chicken and Cranberry Sandwich. This sandwich proves that Thanksgiving flavors aren't just for November. Featuring tender roast chicken layered with tart cranberry sauce, often with a slice of brie or a spread of mayo, it became popular in the late 1900s for turning leftovers into fancy lunches. Served on artisan bread or crusty baguettes, it offered a festive twist that was both familiar and special. Many connect it with cozy weekends, post-holiday relaxation, or cafe lunch specials. It's still made in some delis, but is less common than its simpler cousin, the turkey sandwich. For those who've had it, the taste instantly brings back warmth, celebration, and togetherness. This sandwich's appeal lies in its balance: savory, creamy, and sweet in one bite. It's also a creative example of how families transformed holiday abundance into practical, flavorful meals. In fact, it's often a go-to for holiday brunches or winter picnics, adding elegance to everyday leftovers. 18. Spam and Pineapple Sandwich. Born during Spam's golden age and Hawaii's growing influence on American food, this sandwich combined fried slices of Spam with juicy pineapple rings, sometimes topped with melted cheese or a touch of honey. It was sweet, salty, and totally mid-century in its boldness. Versions of this sandwich were served at luau's, cookouts, and even school lunches. It captured the post-war fascination with tropical flavors and convenience cooking. While it may seem odd today, it represents a time when canned goods and flavor mashups were signs of innovation. And honestly, it's still weirdly delicious if you're brave enough to try it. This combo became a celebration of America's relationship with Hawaii after it became a state in 1959. The sandwich was often featured in family fun magazines as an adventurous twist on weeknight dinners. Some home cooks even broiled it for an extra caramelized edge, a technique that gave this quirky bite a gourmet touch. 19. Anchovy paste sandwich. Made popular by Ian Fleming's James Bond story, For Your Eyes Only, the anchovy paste sandwich, specifically gentleman's relish, was once considered fancy and sophisticated. The paste was made from anchovies mashed with butter, breadcrumbs, olive oil, and pepper, then spread on toast and topped with cucumbers or parsley. It was intensely salty and savory, perfect for strong taste buds or pairing with wine. In the 1950s and 60s, it appeared at cocktail parties and in men's clubs, especially among people who loved British culture. While it never became mainstream in America, it left a cultural mark as the sandwich for grown-ups. Today, it's almost vanished except from the pantries of food historians and Bond fans. The original British spread known as patum peperium was marketed with aristocratic style, making it a status symbol in mid-century homes. For intellectuals and artists, it became a mark of taste, both literal and cultural. Despite fading fame, the anchovy paste sandwich offers a salty link to vintage sophistication and culinary daring. 20. Bacon and peanut butter sandwich. It's hard to imagine a better collision of salty and savory than peanut butter and crispy bacon. This sandwich became famous in the 1950s and 60s and was a common snack for growing boys with fast metabolisms and big appetites. Some added banana slices, Elvis style, others a drizzle of honey for extra indulgence. It was packed with protein and tasted like breakfast and dessert at the same time. Parents praised its energy-boosting qualities, while kids simply loved the crunch and goo. Though rare now, it still pops up in trendy cafes or on nostalgic nights in college dorm rooms. Rumor has it that Elvis Presley wasn't just a fan. He made this combo famous, especially with his famed Elvis sandwich. Nutritionally, it became a go-to for athletes needing fat and fuel before energy bars existed. Its comeback in hipster food trucks has reintroduced the bizarre brilliance to adventurous eaters. 21st Pimento cheese sandwich. A Southern icon, this sandwich has deep roots in early 1900s American kitchens. Pimento cheese, a spread made from cheddar cheese, mayonnaise, and diced pimento peppers, was originally considered a high-class delicacy in the North before becoming a beloved staple in the South. Served on white bread or crackers, it became linked with backyard picnics, church gatherings, and tailgates. Many remember it being packed in lunchboxes or served with sweet tea on warm summer afternoons. Over time, its homemade charm made it a symbol of Southern hospitality. Even today, the caviar of the South holds strong in diners and delis from Georgia to Kentucky. The spread was once factory-produced and sold in glass jars, many of which became collectible jelly containers. It also became a centerpiece of Masters tournament menus in Augusta, adding fame to its humble status. For Southerners, it's more than a sandwich, it's a rite of passage. 22. Mock ham salad sandwich. Another Depression-era innovation, this budget-friendly imitation of ham salad used ground bologna or leftover cold cuts mixed with relish, mayo, and mustard. It was blended until creamy and served between soft bread slices. Despite the mock label, it often tasted just as good, if not better, than the real thing. Families used it to stretch food during lean months and feed crowds at reunions or church functions. The pinkish color and tangy flavor made it especially appealing to kids. Though its name may not scream sophistication, the mock ham salad sandwich was a quiet hero of the 1940s lunch table. In many cases, local butchers would grind mystery meats into salad mixes for home cooks too poor for ham but hungry for flavor. It was also a staple of post-funeral gatherings and potlucks where comfort came not from expense but from familiarity. Today, this sandwich lives on in retro diners and through passed-down family recipes. 23rd Victory Sandwich. The Victory Sandwich was a food tribute to post-World War II optimism and rationing resourcefulness. Built with whatever was on hand, day-old bread, butter, cold cuts, or pickled vegetables, it celebrated the end of scarcity while honoring frugality. Some included a layer of Victory Garden veggies, a reminder of the homegrown efforts that supported the war. Patriotic cookbooks promoted these sandwiches as part of morale-boosting meals. Parents would use them as teaching moments for children, explaining the value of not wasting food. Though humble in appearance, the Victory Sandwich was a symbol of resilience, gratitude, and community pride. In many towns, children were encouraged to pack Victory lunches with garden-grown produce and leftovers. Even Franklin D. Roosevelt's wartime food boards issued guides on how to build one. While the ingredients changed by household, the message never did. Simplicity can be heroic. 24. Olive loaf sandwich. If you were a kid in mid-century America, chances are you saw a slice of olive loaf staring back at you from your lunchbox. This cold cut combined ground pork and beef with green olives for a salty, tangy bite that stood out from typical deli meats. Layered with mustard or mayo and lettuce, it was a lunch staple during the 1950s and 60s. It had loyal fans, especially among those who liked a little zing in their sandwich. Olive loaf was also one of the first lunch meats heavily advertised to housewives for its flavor variety and low cost. Though processed meat trends have declined, olive loaf remains a nostalgic favorite for those who remember school lunches and picnic baskets. The visual alone, a mosaic of pink meat and green olive rings, was as memorable as the taste. Advertisements even suggested pairing it with Jell-O salads and iced tea for the modern woman's lunch. While it's rarely seen today, a bite of it brings back vinyl lunchboxes and linoleum kitchen floors. 25. Fish stick sandwich. The invention of fish sticks in the 1950s revolutionized quick meals. Golden, breaded, and freezer-friendly, they were one of the first frozen foods marketed during the TV dinner boom. Placed between slices of bread with ketchup or tartar sauce, the fish stick sandwich became a cafeteria favorite. It was fast, easy, and mild enough for picky eaters. Many baby boomers recall them as Friday night dinners, especially in Catholic households observing no-meat Fridays. While less common today, this sandwich represents a moment when convenience met comfort and kids finally agreed to eat seafood. Its rise went hand in hand with Gorton's of Gloucester becoming a household name through TV ads. Moms loved it for being both mess-free and easy to cook during busy evenings. Some versions even added American cheese or pickles, turning it into the seafood version of a classic melt. So, how many of these sandwiches have you actually tried? Tell me in the comments. And extra bonus, if you have a family recipe passed down through Grandma's lunchbox generation. If you enjoyed this food trip through history, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone who still knows what a cheese dream is. We have lots more food nostalgia coming your way. Until next time, stay hungry for America's history.